Hello everyone. This week we are going to focus on the chapter 7 from the Hammond's book, which emphasizes shifting our academic mindset. This means moving toward equity, maintaining higher expectations for all students, and strengthen the partnership with the family. We are going to dive into the chapter 7 this week. Academic mindset refers to how students view their ability to learn. This belief directly influences motivation and achievement. The idea is that mindset is not a fixed. He can grow, he can change. On this slide, we are looking at two different ways educators can think about students. The first one, deficit thinking, and the next one, asset-based thinking. Let's start with deficit thinking. This approach focuses on what the student lacked of. For example, a teacher might say the student struggle because their family doesn't support education, or they don't have a strong English skill, so they cannot succeed in academic. While this statement might reflect real challenges, deficit thinking places the responsibility on the student or on their background, rather than examining how we as an educator can better support them. Now, let's shift to the asset-based thinking. This perspective focuses on the student's strengths, ability, and their potential. Instead of seeing a student as lacking, we will ask ourselves, what does this student bring to the classroom? What skill, cultural knowledge, or experiences can we build on? For example, a student who is learning English is not behind. They are actually bilingual or multilingual, which is a powerful strength. This shift is very important because our belief as an educator directly influence our expectation and our instruction. If we believe students are capable, we are more likely to provide meaningful opportunity, challenge them appropriately, and support their growth. That is why the last point is so important. Teachers must shift their perspective. Higher expectation matter. Research shows that teacher expectation influence student performance. We must consistently communicate belief in student ability and avoid lowering standards. On this slide, we are going to focusing on the critical role teachers play in shifting student academic mindset. First, let's talk about building the trust with the student. Trust is the foundation of the learning. If the student do not feel safe, respected, and valued in the classroom, they are less likely to take a risk or fully engage in learning. Building the trust can be as simple as learning and correctly pronouncing student name, showing our interest in their life, being consistent and fair in expectation. When the student trusts you, they are more willing to try even when learning feels challenging. Next, we have using the cultural responsive teaching. This means recognizing and valuing student cultural backgrounds, experiences, and identity as assets in the classroom. Instead of expecting all the students to learn in the same way, we adapt our teaching to be more inclusive. For example, incorporating diverse perspectives and examples into the classroom, connecting the content to the student's real-life experience. Being mindful of the different communication style and the learning preferences. This helps students feel seen, respected, and included in the classroom, which strengthens their engagement and motivation. Finally, let's talk about supporting student confidence. As a teacher, our word and action have a powerful impact on how students see themselves as a learner. We can build the confidence by providing specific positive feedback, encouraging effort rather than just correct answer. Normalizing mistakes as a part of the learning process. When the student believes I can do this, they are much more likely to proceed and succeed. Overall, this slide reminds us that teaching is not just about delivering the content. It is about creating an environment where the student feels safe, valued, and capable of learning. So, I want you to reflect on this question. What is one specific strategy you can use to build trust or confidence in your future classroom? In this slide, we are going to talk about family-school partnerships. Families are initial partners in education. We should respect cultural background and actively engage the family in a meaningful way. In this slide, we are going to discuss about supporting practical strategy. Now we are going to talk about mindset and the role of the teacher. Let's together some practical strategy you can actually use in your classroom. The first strategy is to use growth mindset language. This means the way we talk to the student matters a lot. Instead of saying the thing that you are so smart, you are not good, at this way, we want to focus on effort and progress. For example, you might say, I can see you work really hard on this. You are improving a lot. Keep going. Mistakes help us learn. This type of language helps the student understand that their ability can grow over time, which encourages persistence and resilience. The second strategy is to encourage student voice. Students should feel that their idea, opinion, and experience matter in a classroom. You can do this by asking open-ended questions, giving students opportunity to share their thoughts, allowing the choice in assignment or activity. When students feel heard, they become more engaged and take more ownership of their learning. The third strategy is to provide constructive feedback. Feedback should be guide the student toward improvement, not discouraging them. Instead of just saying this is wrong, we want to give more specific, helpful feedback, such as you are on the right track, try adding more detail here. Let's work on this part together. Constructive feedback focusing on the growth and show the student that learning is a process. Overall, this strategy helps create a classroom environment where students feel supported, motivated, and capable of succeed. So, as a future educator, think about this. Which of these strategies do you feel most comfortable using? And which one do you want to improve? Challenge. On this slide, we are focusing on the challenge of shifting our mindset as an educator. While everything we have discussed sounds perfect, ideal, the reality is that this work is not easy. It requires deep reflection and intentional effort. The first challenge is overcoming bias and stereotype. As a human, we all have unconscious bias shaped by our experiences, culture, and society. This bias can influence how we interpret student behavior, ability, and potential. For example, we might unintentionally expect less from a certain student based on the language, race, and background. The key here is not to feel guilty, but to become aware and to actively challenge those assumptions. The second challenge is changing the long-held belief. Many of us were taught in a traditional system that emphasizes fixed ability, tracking, or comparing the student. This belief can be deeply ingrained. Shifting to a growth-oriented, equity-focused mindset means we have to unlearn some of those ideas and replace them with a new way of thinking about teaching and learning. This takes time, reflection, and continued learning. The third challenge is balancing the support and rigor. Sometimes trying to be supportive teacher may lower expectation, but true equity means we provide both higher support and higher expectation. We want to challenge the student while also giving them the tool and the guidance they need to succeed. It is not about making the thing easier. It is about making learning accessible and meaningful. Overall, this slide reminds us that becoming a cultural responsive and equity-focused educator is a long journey, but not a one-time challenge. So I want you to reflect on this. Which of these challenges do you think will be the most difficult for you, and how can you become to address it? Key takeaway from Chapter 7. In summary, focusing on shifting your mindset, maintaining the higher expectation, and building a strong partnership with the family to support students succeed. I hope you enjoy reading this chapter.